Pause. Very long pause. That is. Did I smoke too much? Because man, I feel like.
Yeah, it's all that LSD we dropped right before the show.
Damn, I shouldn't have dropped that, man.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone to the
Paul's
Wednesday
on a
night.
time warp right now.
I'm.
Is it foggy? A little bit foggy there in Australia today? There we are. There we go. That's what happens when you use. Never mind. I won't go into that camera war. We won't discuss cameras on the Wednesday Night Live show. Canon's number one. Welcome everyone to the Wednesday Night Live show. No soundboard today. I shut it off. I shut it off. I'm being good today. I'm going to be good today. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about YouTube's actions here lately in the last few weeks. Of course, we're also going to talk about Hong Kong, something that has taken effect on April 30th there in Hong Kong. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. And before we get into all that, we're going to say hello to this. I mean, this is a sexy crew. This is a sexy crew.
I'm getting unsexier by the minute. Unsexier by the minute.
I'm too dark. I got to turn some lights on. But let's say hello to our resident rocker, Mr. Tim Swift.
Hey, everybody. So this week, what have I done? I haven't done... Actually, I've done a lot of things. We've had 2 containers in like the last half a week, and so I'm tired of containers. Look, Facebook user eyes. I like the eyes. No, it's been an average, normal, busy.
Tim, wait till it starts heating up, brother. Wait till it starts heating up.
I know. Trust me. You know what though? It's a good workout for me. It's a paid workout, so I'll take it. Other than that, I'm getting unsexier by the minute. Yeah,
there was nothing. Well, here for us, I drove trucks, so I was in and out of trailers all the time. But it'd be 110 here, but inside the trailer it was 150, and you knew it. You knew it the moment you drove the forklift into the trailer.
Containers. The containers are no vacation. I can tell you that much. And the thing about a container is you got to unload it from nose to tail, roof to floor to ceiling. By hand. There's no pallets. There's no forklifts.
Is it out in the elements, or is it in the warehouse? Do they bring it into the warehouse for you, or do they leave it out in the elements?
It's a 48 footer or 43 footer or whatever it is, and they just back it up to the dock, and it's 3 of us, and we just have to unload it, smelling like seawater and everything else. So
you get to see all the Asian cockroaches come flying out of
there. No, actually, no bugs. Strangely enough, no Joro spiders have made it through in the container.
Let's say hello to Fuzzy Paul down there. Paul, how is your week and how's things going, buddy?
So far so good, but yeah, it's just a little bit crazy at the moment. Just swimming in paperwork. Can we? No.
You haven't hired that secretary yet?
Yeah, where's your sexy secretary?
Here we go.
In a little skirt.
Don't start that.
Walking in with the cup. You know how you
didn't put out every movie.
Yeah,
didn't put out a Craigslist ad or something
LFR,
short skirted blonde. Double D secretary.
In every movie, they always walk in like the coffee is the most important thing. Ever see them? They're always like, "Here's your coffee, Mr. Blamire." I said 2 sugars. God damn it! I said 2 sugars.
Yeah, I somehow I think I'd get in a lot of trouble if I had a sexy secretary.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. I got a feeling he would be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, Tim. He would be broadcasting next week's show from some Australian prison.
I figured it out.
No,
so, go ahead.
I'd have someone straight on the phone to me going, "What the fuck is going on? Why is that person in your office?
We're just friends." No, you know what?
It reminds me of that movie, The Secretary. Yep. I could see it happening right now.
I figured it out. Paul just needs to make a wooden doll.
Yeah. Get a blow-up doll.
No, like Pinocchio. He just needs to make. He just needs to make a wooden doll that comes to life.
Oh, geez.
You can't argue with wood, right?
Yeah.
Well, you'd have wood.
God, I need my soundboard. I need my soundboard so bad today.
Paul would have wood. He'd have wood 2 times.
Oh, I need those drums right now.
Yeah. What happened to the soundboard? Why'd you turn it?
I'll turn it back on. I thought maybe that was the issue with our sound. But before I do that, this guy right there, Tim right there, Tim, he will be saying hello to all our lovely
I am.
viewers.
I'm going to say hi. Yeah, no, because, we need to see some smiley faces on here. It's been a rough day in YouTube land, hasn't it? Hasn't it then? So, hey, Shannon, what's going on? How are you? Great to see you back. Curtis, my boy Curtis in the house. Mallory, always lovely to see Mallory here. Luke, XTRM Brazen. I love the creativity with the username. Yo, we got Facebook user Eyeballs. I don't know who Eyeballs is. You have to give us your name. And I think, we got Megan. Well, Megan said she was going to watch us on replay. So Megan was here, but had to go. So,
I'll give it to her.
And other than that, we got 9. We got 9 total. I think I called out about 6 of you. So
yeah. Well, thank you, all of you guys, for joining us today. We promise to entertain you as much as possible today. We're going to get right into it. We're not going to mess around. We're going to talk about YouTube first and what's going on here. I mean, from what I have been reading, some of the stuff that's coming back from some of the big time reviewers, it's mind boggling. Actually, I was talking to Tim earlier before the show started on Matt's post. Matt got flagged for having the link on the box that he was doing the unboxing for. Never had a post-it link on his channel. It wasn't written on the screen. Like, that was the trick. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but that was the trick to get away from actually posting the link on the header. They would just put it on the screen and flash it real quick. And they got away with that for a while. And then they stopped doing that. But now he's gotten hammered for having the link that is on the box, which is, what are you going to do? Tape that up, or just, I guess, stop showing the box on the unboxing? Just have the lid off. Don't go through the details, or you can't really even turn it around, huh, Paul? Because there's a link on the back too. On every one.
I was just looking.
It is, yeah. There's a link.
I'm looking. I'm not going to hold boxes up, right?
Yeah, they don't hold boxes up, dude.
No, I'm looking and I'm going, yeah, you're right. There's either links to the product website, or there is a link to
customer service. Xingling China. It's on there, dude.
How
you can't even show the manual because it's smack dab right on the first page of the manual.
in all realistic, for all intents and purposes, I mean, I don't think anybody would have thought that would be something that would be caught, right? Because you're not arbitrarily trying to advertise. I mean, subconsciously, maybe you didn't even know you were doing it by showing the box. But if that's the worst of it, you just don't show the box or the manual. How many people need to see that shit anyway? Does that? I mean, does that really make a difference? Like we're getting down to the nuts and bolts of a device or an atomizer or something like that. What we care about is how does it work? Does it work? Is it good? Is it bad? How do you fill it? How do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's really the meat and potatoes of it. So to skip a box, you could just change your game and just say, if you want to see what the packaging looks like, head on over to my Facebook page. Head over to my Facebook page. I took a picture there.
Yeah, link it to the page. I mean, it's Curtis, you bring up a good point too, because that's something I feel is next. I mean, even for us, as far as YouTube channels, is actually vaping. Actually vaping while we're doing the show and thinking, is that next? Is that the next thing that they try to figure out to implement to try to get rid of some of the channels, is by, doing what, not TikTok, but it's Twitch, right? It's Twitch. Twitch will ban you if you are vaping in their videos. So, I mean, could that happen on YouTube? I don't know. Do you need to vape while doing a review? Sure. I mean, yeah, right? Shit.
I don't think, you know what, and the reality of it is again, and we talked about this too. For one, and I'm not trying to discount the fact that you want to try to keep as much of this broadcasting away from children,
right,
as much as you can, but they do give you a venue for that. You can tick a box that says that you don't want anybody over a certain age bracket watching it, so it's age restricted material. The person with the device in their hand is a legal adult, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're here. We don't have 14-year-olds on the show, so I mean, and you can't. I mean, unless somebody asked, they probably wouldn't know what you had in your hand anyway.
Right.
So it's not like you're advertising directly anyway.
Right.
Good point, Tim, and John for that matter. But here's something a little bit left field. What if they're using an AI now to actually scan for links? How what they've got someone sitting there now and going through each of the videos? No. How are they scanning and picking up on that link?
They are picking. Yeah, that's the thing.
Something must be analyzing the video, looking for just www or something like that.
Yeah. I think I don't know. That's a good point. I mean, are they? To me, it's like they're in sniper mode, man. I mean, they're going after the top channels. They're not messing around. I haven't seen one smaller channel having an issue. It's Grim, Matt, Vaping with Vic, now Fagan, and names not to be mentioned on this show. Whatever his name is, you guys can say it. I don't want to say his name, but yeah, I mean, these are channels that are getting hammered. I mean, anybody out there seen any of the I don't know, let's say under 1,000 subscriber channels being hit right now for reviews? I haven't seen any. I mean, usually if Mark or Matt posts something like they did today, you usually see a smaller channel guy comment in the thread saying, "Yeah, they got me too." But I haven't seen one of those at all yet on any of the. Have you, Paul? Because I know you follow Matt as well, and I haven't seen anybody complaining. The smaller channels. So they're specifically, to me, that says they're actually watching these channels. They're looking. I think they actually have a human being physically watching some of these channels and just trying. All they need is one thing. All they need is one mistake, and they're done. They're going to get that strike. And unfortunately, like I was telling Tim, most of these guys already have that one strike. So getting that second strike is huge, because you're one strike away from being completely done and losing all your content. So it's nuts what they're doing. And I just for shits and giggles, I looked up some stats for YouTube. 2.6 billion active users, which, all right, that's a huge fucking number. So I started thinking 2.6 billion. What is the likelihood a kid is going to find a vaping channel on YouTube without typing in vaping? What are the chances you think of that happening with 2.6 billion users? And pretty slim.
Yeah. But you know what? I got to imagine a lot of this comes back down to sort of basic principles, right? Yeah. And that's lawyers. Okay. Yeah. So lawyers are going to drive the behavior of the business just based on particular liability. And so I don't know that it's an aggressive attack on vaping. I honestly don't think, as long as revenue's coming in, I really don't think YouTube probably gives a rat's ass, as long as it's not like OnlyFans kind of stuff. Right. Even though there's some semi-risque stuff on here anyway. But with that said, I'm thinking lawyers are probably advising them and saying, look, you can't allow any of these channels to do this. The moment you see it, you have to take them down, because that puts a liability on you. And the moment you allow that to pass, you're in effect endorsing that. And so it's easier for you just to get rid of it or get rid of them than it is for you to stay on the firing line. And I'm just comparing that to other experiences I've had that are not vaping related, but seen storefronts and things get taken down because of somebody's levied accusation of, say, a copyright or intellectual property infringement or something like that. They take your store down, and then you can't bring it back because they don't want to be involved in that fight. They just don't want to be in the middle of it.
Yeah, a quarter of the world's population uses YouTube every month. A quarter of the population. Yeah, 50, and now this one kind of surprised me because this is where we're having the issue. Let's be honest. This is a USA issue. 15.9% of YouTube site traffic comes from the United States. Would you think that number's kind of low?
Quarter of the population?
It says 15.9% of YouTube site traffic comes from the U.S.
I mean, do you think that's low?
I thought it was going to be much higher. I thought maybe upper in the 20, 30%, but not at 15. 15% of
I think you have to spread that wealth, though. You have to look at the totality of the globe and consider that, just because we got a big continent, we got 300 million people, doesn't mean that we make up the vast majority. I mean, look at Asia. Take Asia, for example.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
they double our population. They're all on their phones. They're all on the internet. They probably dwarf us. If you could, did they say what the numbers are elsewhere?
No, they didn't list it, but I could probably find out the breakdown. Yeah. But they just listed that the fact that only 15.9% of YouTube traffic is coming from the U.S., so the rest of the world is seeing this. But my point to that is, most of those countries outside of the U.S. and say England and a few other ones, YouTube is pretty much open. I mean, they can see whatever they can see unless it's copyrighted within the U.S. We've seen that with music videos where certain music isn't allowed to be broadcast on certain countries. And I was wondering the same thing with vaping. I'm not sure what you get to see in there in Australia, but is there some content there, vaping wise, that is not broadcast there in Australia that maybe we get here, that you have to use a VPN to see?
Certain things, not so much on YouTube, but other platforms. Yes, there is geo blocking here in Australia. Certain news articles we can't see here in Australia unless we use a VPN. But that has to do with the government and the cybersecurity laws that we've got in play here. I used to have a problem with a couple of woodworking channels that were coming out of Canada, but now they seem to be unlocked again. But vaping content, we've really only got Legion Vapes and Bogan doing reviews, but even they're not so much doing reviews anymore. They're more doing like other content as well. But I think if it gets any worse, we've got some serious problems. If they're going after no, but if they're going after the big players, right? Going after like Matt and Nick. Those two are very big players, very big advocates. Yeah. So that tells me something else, whether or not they're going after that side of the industry at that level.
Well, popularity probably draws some attention too.
Yeah, but where's Rip? That's the other shocker to me. Where's Rip? Rip's not in there. Rip draws 1 million. Rip posts a video, it's automatic. Within an hour, it's at 100,000 plus views.
Yeah, but
I can't remember. Does he show the box? Does he do it? No, he never does show the box, does he?
He just shows the device.
Yeah,
correct. But I wonder if he's got insulation because of how big his channel is now. Because he's got over 1 million subs.
Yeah, he's over 1 million, and I think the second on that list has got to be Mike, right? Mike or Grim? Mike.
I think it'd be Nick, actually.
Well, Rip uploaded a review 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And what's the view count?
1.2K already.
I seriously, I think you're right though, Paul. Look at the names, and the names are advocates. They're big advocates for our community, and they're going. And I'll be honest. I've seen maybe a couple of Vic's video, but he's pretty active as far as advocacy. Correct?
He is and he isn't. Vaping with Vic out of the UK,
Yeah, out of the UK. So
No, they're obviously targeting,
yeah,
but that's my take on it. But as I said, something's going on in the background that we don't know about for a start, and who's behind it. If the answer behind this, or they're going after specific content, then so be it. Then you're just going to have to be very, very careful in how you're putting your videos together. And I don't know. What do you think, Tim? What you get a Sharpie and you wipe out the address, or
and that's why I said. I mean, so I mean, you can be as cautious as you possibly want to be, but I mean, if it's a matter of just not showing the box or putting your hand over it or something like that to block out that link, I don't think in this case anyone really would have suspected that a link on the box would have been an issue of contention, because a lot of us don't even look for that information. We don't freeze the frame and go, what was the website of this place? We already know what it is anyway.
Well, some of us do. I freeze and zoom in, screenshot, and then zoom in.
Okay, no, but I think you're misunderstanding the question.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Do you actually need to freeze the video to figure out what website that device came from?
Oh, no, absolutely
Okay,
not.
so that's my point, is that the average person watching that video review is not even looking for a link to anything, because even if Rip never posted anything to do with the company other than saying the name of the company, 99.99999% of us would know exactly what website to go to look for. And to be frank with you, we wouldn't even go to the corporate website anyway. Nope. We would be going to a vape distributor website to see where we can buy it. Yep. So there's a big disparity there. So sure, okay, fine. You put tape over it. You put your hand over it. You don't show it. Fuck the box altogether.
Eliminate it, yeah.
Just, who cares? Don't show the stupid little 3-page manual that we all already know how to operate the damn thing anyway. And besides, we're watching a video that shows us how to operate it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, take out the stuff that's extraneous. Like, do either of you care that if Matt does a review on a device and he opens the box and he tells you, hey, just for your information, just so everybody knows, inside there's a quality control card, there's a 3-page quick start manual, and then there's a 25-page manual that has all the error codes that's in 45 languages. Do you really care that stuff is shown to you so you know it's coming in the box? No, because that stuff never comes out of the box. It comes out of the box so you can get to the mod and goes right back in the box. That's it.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, shit. I'm thinking of some of the other channels. I'm just thinking of some of the other review channels of other products. I've always seen the guy just throw the manual over to the side. Oh, there's a manual. Boom, throws it to the side. They never open it up. Hardly ever do I see someone actually opening up the manual. We're there to learn how to use the product. There's no need to open the manual and show us. So there's no reason. I don't need to personally see the outside of the box. I really don't care, what's in there. I care about what's in there. I don't care about what's written on the box. I already know by reading the title that I am here to watch a review on a smock product. So I don't need to see that box. I don't need to see the name of maybe the name, but that's in the title anyway as well. Yeah.
Well, right. And so, and to your point, Curtis, that's a very good point, is that there might be some advertising placement that goes along with that, based on, like, the company says, okay, if you're going to review the device, you have to show the packaging because that's got our branding all over it.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. Well, now these companies are going to know that anything they send that has a link on it, they'll probably just start taking the link off the box. Yeah. Is my guess. If they have to leave the branding there because that's something they prefer, then that's fine. Then take the link off of the visible pages and the visible outside of that particular unit, because again, most of us don't care to see it. We really don't need it.
Yeah, and what's eventually going to happen anyway, China will get light of it, and they'll just remove the links to their sites off the front of the box. So
that's what I just said. That's what I just said.
Yeah.
I said they'll just take it off the packaging and off the pages of the manuals.
Yeah.
Who cares?
We don't need to see it. I mean, it's to me too. I get it. Some people have stated it in the comments. It's hard because all it takes is one ain't to go to someone's page and report it. That's all it takes now, because it seems like YouTube's not even taking the time to review that checkbox that someone is clicking to complain about a video. They're just automatically shutting that channel down.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to the point, I mean, I laugh. Remember, guys, a couple years ago, it was about trying to get the word vape out of their titles. Matt changed his, Mark changed, just trying. So.
Ooh, Curtis has brought up a point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. What? The barcodes.
Barcode. Yeah.
Yeah. That's another one. Because
barcodes and QR codes. I never thought of that. Right.
Right. And again, and the people that got caught on it didn't know about that, and probably didn't know that that was something that they figured that YouTube would go looking for as part of a policy violation.
Yep.
That's what drives me nuts about a lot of these social media platforms, like this one, like Facebook, like. Yeah. They have a slew of rules and regulations that they set forth. Almost impossible for us to really get into and read them all to their totality, and then also kind of pick out of it what they're intending on trying to say.
Right.
But with that, it just sucks, because they'll just take you down, and then you go, okay, well, what did I do? I won't do it again. And then they go, well, it could be, we can't tell you. It could be any one of these 35 possible violations. From a committee that decides on whether or not your account has been restricted, it was based on their vote. We can take it to an appeal. I'm like, well, then let me talk to them. I don't want to talk to this fodder guy who sits on the other side who's just will tell me it was one of 35 possible violations.
Yep.
Yeah,
at least YouTube has a customer service. I mean, Facebook has zero, no customer service whatsoever. To get your complaint fixed, you have to go through this process. And at the end of it, if you want to take it to the next level, then there are some individuals that will review your case and decide whether or not you're okay or not. But that takes months before, or even if they decide to even look at your case. But on YouTube side, I mean, there's some customer service there, and you can. They have a phone number, they have a website you can go to. You can actually speak to a human being that works at YouTube. But like I said, I almost feel like, and you guys tell me, I mean, they have money, they have time, they unlimited amount of money, to be honest. Some of these ain't, getting money from MSA, but I'm sure they've got 3 or 4 people. They're sitting in a room, going through social media, finding any little thing they can find on a site, on a video, and going after them. And I wouldn't doubt it. How about you guys? I mean, they have the sufficient funds to do something like, hey, you guys do 3 college kids. Come over here, sit down. Your job is to go through every single Mark Fagan video. Your job is to go through every single one of Grim Green's video and find anything, a link, a mistake here and there. I mean, that's how bad it is, man. It's crazy.
Well, right. I mean, they're gonna try to find any little thing. I mean, don't you remember when it started with all the applications on the app stores that were getting targeted, and we already knew that there was a handful of like vape shops or vape distributors that had made some imaginary grandfather clause that they were able to keep their app on there, but they couldn't update it. They couldn't refresh it or submit an update to it. So therefore, anybody after that grandfather couldn't submit for a vape app. Mm-hmm. But they were targeting the coil making apps, which was asinine. It's like that doesn't even advertise vaping to even begin with. They're not they're not selling anything. B, it's science. It's a mathematical equation based on metals and an algorithm, and it's for safety.
Yep.
But you're going after it because you think if some 12-year-old stumbles onto a coil making app or tells you how many wraps you need for a 0.15 ohm coil, that is promoting vaping. It's all they're doing is telling you how to make something.
Right. Safety.
Right. So again, this is just probably something that they had on their playbook, and they're like, okay, when we get around to it, we're going to have somebody sit there and watch all these vape review videos and see if they're actually violating policies. Yeah. And if we see one thing, we're going to go right after them. So It's
So
unfortunate.
I'm gonna ask this amazing panel experts right here. How do we fight this? Throw some ideas out there for everyone watching. How could we fight this?
You mean
How
get
big's your
YouTube
bank
to change
account?
their policy?
Make light of what YouTube is doing. 2 vaping reviews.
Well, see, I don't know that you really can. I think there's things you can do to try to stymie the policy if you study it from front to back and understand it, how any particular loophole might be misconstrued. I think you ultimately, in the end, you have to find a way to take it to a totally different platform. I think you're just going to have to walk away from YouTube and just be done with it, because otherwise you're going to just spend the rest of your days waiting for that next strike, because it's going to be something else that you didn't even suppose was going to come down the line. I think vape reviews play a very valuable part in all of this, because it helps to teach people about what they're using, and it helps sell things. I mean, in general, right? Because I mean, you're basically doing that. You're helping somebody else. Yeah, you're selling something for somebody. But I think if you want the freedom to be able to not have to worry about every little eggshell that you got to step on just to have that review, I think you literally have to start looking at other options. Like, for example, I mean, these guys are big enough. If they said, "Hey guys, I just can't do YouTube anymore, but I've created a website where all my vape reviews are going to get posted."
Yeah.
Hosted on a private server, whatever, and then just have vape reviews on a website of your own. You can garner traffic that direction. Yeah. And then what is anybody to say if you're not hosting it on somebody else's servers where they have policies about what's content is on those websites? You can privately host that server and just run your own content, right?
Yeah.
There you go. XTRM made the point. You just create your own platform. Now, they tried to do that. I don't know if anybody.
It wasn't very successful, and it comes down to convenience, Tim. That's the problem. We all become so adapted to the apps that we have on our phone, and being that who we are, it's almost like, oh my God, I got to go to this YouTube channel. I got to go to this website now. God forbid, and that's what it feels like that some individuals got to. I mean, because when Mike said, "I'm done, I'm moving over to this channel," and I saw the number transition, I was like, okay, he did nothing. It wasn't even 0.1% of what he was drawing. And I think it is. I mean, it's that convenience. I got the YouTube app. I got the Facebook app. I got the Twitch app. I got these apps. And now I have to open up Chrome. I got to type in this app. I mean, that's how lazy I think we've gotten.
Well, I don't disagree that YouTube is a common target or landing zone for a lot of people that are looking for specific information about a specific particular topic, and this is definitely a convenient platform to be able to reach a lot of people very quickly. But the point is, then John, it comes down to the actual person. What are they gonna do? Right. If they make their living this way,
fight.
Yeah.
Fight.
Sure, fight. I'm not saying don't, but we're seeing more and more that the fighting doesn't necessarily always garner us the results that we're looking for. And these privately owned corporations have found a way to just go ahead and liability themselves out of being put into the fight themselves. Because again, I don't know that this is an arbitrary thing that YouTube is initiating. I think they're stuck in the middle between the pros and the antis, and their lawyers have said, if it comes down to that, you just shut them down and you step away.
Yeah.
Don't give them a way to get back in.
Right. Well, I think too, with YouTube, it comes down to advertising dollars, and when the ain'ts get to the advertisers and start getting companies to push YouTube in a certain direction, and that's what we're getting right now. I mean, it's got to be very difficult for a YouTube channel, for a vape channel, to get any advertisement on their channel. It's going to be virtually impossible. There's none there. So YouTube generates $0 from that 10-minute video. So to them, hey, bye, Mark. Hey, goodbye, Matt. Goodbye, Grim. The advertisement dollars aren't there. Because, when I did look it up, I thought for sure one of the things, I thought there was more people that paid for YouTube. And I guess there really isn't a lot. That are actually paying for YouTube not to see commercials. I'm one of them. I don't know if you two guys pay. Do you guys see big commercials? Or you see
two in a row, 2 30-second ones in a row.
Yeah,
No.
I don't want to see them, so I pay it
No,
every month.
I-
Yeah.
I'm on a Linux system, and I've got an ad blocker that kills all the advertising.
I mean, yeah, there's ways around it. There's ways around it.
I hate advertising.
But yeah, I
If
mean,
I'm
I
watching,
get.
if I'm watching a video on a new chisel set, I want to watch the chisels. I don't want to watch 30 seconds and then halfway through, bang, another advertisement. I'm like, no, you just made me go, no.
Yeah.
If the issue with kids.
Right. And Andrew, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks for joining in and talking.
Oh.
Yeah, can you leave that there for a second?
Yeah. So,
but... And I think that's just common knowledge, right? I do think that we all have to be cognizant of the idea that particular kind of content, we don't want it to get trickled down to the kids. And I mean, I think that John brought this up when we were talking about it, is that, it's already a default check that you don't want it, it's not safe for kids. And then after that, there's a checkbox that you're reliable for checking whether or not it goes out to 18 plus. Is that what it is?
Right. Yeah. It's 18 or over, or 18. It'll ask you, do you want this content to be viewed by, and then there's two options: over 18, under 18.
Right. Yeah. So with that said, I think that most people are fastidious enough to go ahead and check that box because they know they don't want kids to be able to see it. But the ain'ts have just been like, well, you put up a link.
Yeah.
So somehow, some way, some magical porthole opened up, and the kids are seeing links.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing we're doing. They're doing the exact same thing that we're doing. They're looking for loopholes, and they found them, and now they're using them.
I just thought of something, because now you have T21 in the US.
Right.
YouTube is 18.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's on them to change that, though.
Yeah.
That's not. If we can only say 18 plus or not, how can we potentially defeat that if we were doing a vape review and blocking out anybody younger than 21? You didn't even give me an option.
And because every country, every city, every state, every place in the world has a different definition of what an adult is, we no longer know. So let's just put it that way. Sometimes it's okay at 18. Sometimes it's not. So I think they just eliminated it and just said 18. They're saying if you're 18, basically that's what YouTube is saying. If you're 18 to YouTube, you're considered an adult. Whether your country, your state, your city, or whatever you're watching it from considers you not being an adult until you're, I don't know, fucking whatever age they want to throw out there nowadays. What is it now? 25?
Well, federal is 21.
Yeah.
I don't know if all the states have switched to T21. I think some might still be under that metric. Yeah. But I think the argument is they say that they should move it to 25 because technically your brain is not fully developed until you're 25, which is a bunch of hooey. But,
Yeah. I mean... look at 8.6 billion in revenue in 2021 for YouTube. So this one kind of made me laugh. Total daily hours of video watched on YouTube. What do you think it is, guys? Throw out a number, Tim. The daily hours of video watched on YouTube.
352,264,472 hours and 28 minutes.
Not quite that high. It's 1 billion hours 1 billion hours a day. Dude,
Right.
that's fucking crazy.
Because we're all over here looking up videos on how to friggin' attach a handle to a countertop or some shit.
That's exactly it. I just used it the other day to figure out the part that was on my dishwasher that I needed to replace, and the guy had a brilliant video. It was absolutely perfect. Great camera work. It zoomed in all the way down to this little chip that I needed, and made it so I can actually read the I mean, I love YouTube. Don't get me wrong. I think what they're doing is like Tim is saying. I think they're being forced into a corner, and they're trying to figure out the best alternative for themselves without getting more involved with this issue. And by just saying, hey, you made this mistake. This is the rules. You violated it. Strike. But at least, like I said, at least YouTube does have a customer service. They do have a way to contact them. And what I have noticed is if the right person is pushing back on Twitter, YouTube listens. Am I right? Because I've seen it several times. I've seen it several times this year already, with in 2020, in 2021, and 2022 already, with Mike getting pissed off, going to Twitter, posting it. Boom. Within an hour, YouTube said, oops, we made a mistake. We'll fix it, Mike. And you're back up and running. Within one day, Mike's back up and running.
Yeah, but I mean, that might work in some cases, but eventually, do you feel like that they're worried about a threat of some kind of half-assed boycott by the vape community? For people like, I'm not going to watch YouTube anymore because you banned my favorite reviewer.
No, but I do think that they understand the power of Twitter, and I think they do understand that whether the way Twitter works and what I've noticed from Twitter, a lot of times if you use the correct words and hashtags, whether that issue is important to that person or not, you will bring them in. And that's what I see from Twitter. So whether it's vaping or whether it's some other issue that's around, I think if you word your post correctly, use the right hashtags, you could almost draw in those people that are like, hey, you know what? Yeah, that is bullshit. Why are they doing that? I'm going to jump board. And I think YouTube knows that Twitter is capable of doing that. At any point in time, I think someone's tweet can go from a guy that has 10, 15, 20, 30 tweets to all of a sudden 1.5 million. And I got to believe that YouTube knows that and sees when Mike does post, and all of a sudden, oh shit, that post is up to 105K, and then start reading the thread and starting to notice. I noticed even in Mike's post, people that didn't even vape were like, dude, that's bullshit, So I don't know. I mean, that's how I feel. That's why I always say there's got to be something we can do. I'm always trying to figure out a different way to approach it. And again, it's drawing interest of people outside of our community and letting them see the nonsense that's going on. And without us doing that and getting outside of our community, we're not going to get anything. That's why I always tell people all the time, look on Twitter. Look what's trending. Look whatever word is trending. Use that word. Use that hashtag in your tweet. Somehow, some way, work it in there because that gets put into the feed. It gets seen by more people. Just step out. That's the best way for me that I feel that you can get outside of our little bubble is by trying to use your words properly that are on Twitter and try to get that normal Joe Blow to see that tweet. And we just need like 4 or 5. If we could just get 4 or 5 to trend a month, that would be amazing to me.
Right. I look, if people want to choose to take extreme measures, I think, yes, by all means, you bring attention to a situation that could be seen as unjust, unfair, or unsubstantiated. I just don't think that the threat of boycotts or movements to boycott really make that much of an impact on any one platform, any more than Netflix, any more than Disney, any more than YouTube. These places are just way too big, and they have too many sympathizers that are going to be like, you know what? It doesn't affect me. I'm still going to go, sing, It's a Small World After All at the front gate, and I'm not going to give a rat's butt. And then you've got the zealots or the people that are just, that like to stand on a premise, and they're like, maybe they don't have a dog in the fight, but they'll say, hey, I'll stand up and fight for that too, because I don't agree in that it's a complete mess at this point. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, if someone said we're all boycotting YouTube because Matt got taken down, okay,
yeah, it's
okay,
it's a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, okay, fine. We're all boycotting YouTube, everybody. Yeah. Oh, but we'll all be back next week when we need to find that video of how we go ahead and fix the part on our dishwasher.
Yeah, how to tie-dye a shirt.
Right. Yeah. The correct way to saddle a horse.
Yeah.
Well, we're all going to be back next week. So remember the Voopoo thing. Yeah. When Voopoo stole Tony's idea, and everybody was out smashing Voopoo devices in their front yard and boycotting Voopoo. Who had a Voopoo 2 in a month and a half? About more than half of them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So
actually, next week, I'll go out and I'll teach you all how to saddle a horse properly.
That's next week.
But we're on YouTube, Paul. We're on freaking YouTube. You're going to show us on YouTube.
I'm going to have Paul do that on the Vape show.
That's what I'm going to do. I'll walk out in the paddock with completely wireless, and I'll have someone hold my phone. And
we'll get some animal rights activists to come on and say he didn't do it properly. The saddle was too tight. Some nonsense.
Right. So
it'd be on like Donkey Kong for that, because I'd have all the anti-racing nuts after me. I'd have the animal welfare service, because you can't use that bit, you can't use this, you can't do that. Yeah, it's a fucking racehorse. Yes, I can.
So Preacher Reviews is on the show. Thanks for joining, man. So you said that you got hit big time on your channel. A bunch of your videos got taken down. Do you have any inclination as to why they were taken down? Did they give you any tip off? Like they're saying because you showed advertising of some kind, or you were showing links? I'm not suggesting you did. I'm just curious as to why you may have gotten hit like that, or if you even know. Said they're on their last strike now.
I'm on his page right now.
Yeah.
Preacher with 242. Hey, you know what? Let's give Preacher a little love. He came. He showed up. Let's show him some love. All right.
We don't have the hand clap.
No, I was going to show him some love by putting his page up there.
There you go. Everybody go watch Preacher's.
Watch Preacher. He took the time to
blow Preacher up right now, because everybody else is all there right now. They're all having a Bud Light and a sandwich because they can't upload.
Preacher, you just got to subscribe from me, so I am on there. The ZampleBox YouTube channel is following the Preacher. Yeah, I mean, we're curious. Let us know in the comments down below what the process was for you. Have you tried to appeal any of them, and what that process was like? Did you get a response quickly, or were you waiting weeks to get a response? And because I know it's automatic, right? I'm not sure. Again, I'm not completely, absolutely sure how long you're shut down, even on the first strike. But I think it's 1 day. Is it 24 or 48 hours? The first strike, not able to upload content, or is it a week? I can't remember now, man. I think we were shut down a week, right, Tim?
I feel like it went on for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think it did. Oh, that was because there's one. I remember. Yeah, that's right. But somebody kept going in there and reporting videos, so I was in. That's why you see no more ZampleBox.
Yeah, and I feel bad because, like, I do sometimes go back and look to see if there's any comments on any of our live broadcasts, and I saw this one sort of sad comment a couple shows ago, and it said, can you bring back the nasty tasting liquid videos? Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? Well, that wasn't us anyway. That was the ZB people from before. Yeah. But B, it's like, you know what? We love watching those videos too. You know what I mean? That was some of our allure to the whole thing, and you just can't put them up.
I am working on it, though, for those out there that are concerned about some of the safety videos that ZampleBox has. I'm actually going through those right now. I've been doing that the last couple of days, and just making sure the links that are not supposed to be there are removed, and to make sure there's no promo video codes in there. But I would love to get those battery safety videos back up, because ZampleBox spent a lot of money putting and producing those videos. I know they paid a lot of money to their graphic guy to get those videos done, and I think they're very great, very good videos on battery safety. So I'm going to try my best to get those back on. But I said, I'm going to have to go through them and just make sure there's no promo link, because you can't even have a promo link on the screen. So I got to make sure there's no promo links in there. Take any of the links that direct you back to ZampleBox as well. Those need to be gone. And I feel like those videos, because they had a great mech mod video, safety mech mod video they had that was well done. They had the battery safety video which was a great video, and a couple other safety videos that I really think need to be back up and used, because they were used. Actually, if you look, when I looked at the views on those, they were high. There were still people constantly still going back to those videos to use them for general knowledge on safety. So I will get those back up.
Yeah. So to Beast Gamer's point right here, is similar YouTube going after vape reviewers, like not for a vape reviewer, but just more of a vape channel. I mean, do we even know what Dash got hit with? Like why they got just
it was advertising.
Link back to their website and their store.
Okay. Yeah. So that's sort of risky too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they thought I'm not gonna assume, but do you think that they were any assumption that we're in Canada, we can do this? No, because I think they were that one company or that one channel that was just like, yeah, all right. And I mean, it was a busy channel. Don't get me wrong; they got a lot of views on that channel, and they produced some pretty good videos. Yeah. And it was just like, oh well, so what? We'll move on.
But they're back now, right? So I mean, they're producing new content now, yeah.
Yeah, but they're also hosting a lot of their content directly on their website, not so much on YouTube anymore. Right. Phil's right. Also now with the opening of the EU warehouse, and that looks great, by the way. I like that little warehouse.
Yeah,
it looks pretty cool.
I mean, at that time, I want to say, let's go back 4 years ago. At that time, I am going to be the first one to admit that some of the vape videos got a little too fucking strange and a little too weird, trying to add an entertainment way of it, with blowing shit up and breaking stuff and, four-wheeling in them and just making it look like it was this lavish lifestyle that you're vaping. And to me, I was just like, hey, slow down, guys. Go back to the format. Go back to the original format of Grim Green and Rip. Go back to that format and entertain them that way, and it felt like there was this war going on, because certain channels all of a sudden, I mean, what's that guy, the country guy that just took off? I forget the name of Mountain Vapor. Is it not Mountain Vapor, but it's the other guy. He is always in a shot with two other guys. They're always doing kind of, God damn it, I can't remember his name right now, but his channel just took off, and it was four-wheeling in it. There was, they were blowing shit up, and they were, doing goofy stuff in the shop, and I was just like, okay, do I want to watch 8 minutes of nonsense before we get to the review? No, I don't. But yet those channels took off because there were vapors that wanted to see 6 minutes of craziness and nonsense before they got to the review of the product. And
I can kind of understand why it might have gone that way too. Is I think that for some of us it became a hobbyist thing. For some people it became the basic, look, I'm trying to quit smoking and I don't need all the pomp and circumstance. And then for other people, and this applies to a lot of different things, is that it became lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? It's like vaping became integrated into your life, and it shouldn't have been viewed as anything other than still on the surface you were not smoking, but it was about being free and doing stuff. So yeah, some people would like to see ATVs and stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? It's all, it all becomes culture. And it's unfortunate that people think that once you sensationalize something like that it draws way too much attention to it, and in the same breath it's some kind of a bad thing. But I agree with you too, John, that if you keep it simple, keep it to the basics, and make it what it's truly about, maybe some of the focus comes off of you.
Yeah, and I get it for those guys that are out there that went that route. They were trying to keep their subs, but you know what? One of the things that I've noticed over the years is, we all have that one favorite reviewer. He's the guy that we're going to go see when he has a product. But we did that maybe a couple weeks into our transition from smoking to vaping. But then we realized, hey, just like anything else, I want more info. Maybe I didn't get that unboxing on Mark's channel. I'm going to go to Mike's channel and see that unboxing. Maybe I didn't see how he built the coil on that device, but what's his name does that. I'm going to go ahead and watch that video. So I get it, but then again, they had to see that because they see the comments. I don't know if they really pay attention to the comments in other people's videos. I'm assuming they do, but I'm sure they noticed that Tim is not just going to Mike's videos. Tim is going to see Mike's video. He's going to go check out what Mark had to say about it. He's going to go and see what Vic had to say about it. We all have done that, and it just seemed like everybody, these other YouTube reviewers, just felt like, oh, I gotta keep them. I gotta draw it in, and analytics will kill you. Anybody that has a YouTube channel and you start looking at the analytics, it starts to get in your head. And you try to figure out the best solution of keeping them, because that first minute is the most important part of any YouTube video. And that's what I noticed. It was like, gotta get you. I gotta get you. I have to have the perfect perfect thumbnail. I gotta have the perfect header. I gotta have the perfect first minute to draw you and keep you in. And then we all noticed that first minute was just nonsense, screaming through a fucking dirt field on a quad, and I'm like, vaping, and it's just a cloud of vape coming out of and I'm like, what does this have to do with the Smock Prius? Like,
right. Yeah, I think you could slice it 10 ways to Sunday. I think there's a traditionalist, and then there's oh God, what's the word I could use to describe so, I mean, there's people that are like the X Games side of it, and then there's some that are just like, look, all I want to do is quit smoking. Just what's a good device that I can use? And I do think that we didn't suffer from a reviewer standpoint. I think we had reviewers that catered to all those different types of interests, and that's case in point when we talk about certain names of reviewers that we watch or endorse, and people are like, I won't watch that guy because I don't like his angle, or I don't like the way he does it. And then there's other people like, I love that, so you have to have something for everybody,
Yeah. Indoor's a perfect guy. I mean, to be honest, he's kept it real. He's kept it real from day one. The same layout of his videos. It is the same layout, man. It never changes, man. And he did start to change. I don't know. I want to say maybe 5 years ago, Paul. He started realizing, oh shit, nobody wants pen style shit. Everybody's trying to kind of making that transition into the 2 battery shit. And he's like, well, and he didn't do them all the time. He threw one in once a week, maybe once a month. He'll throw in a dual device, But yeah, he kept it basic. Grim kept it basic. I mean, there's a lot of guys that were just like, here you go. This is the box. This is what you get. This is how you build it and vape it and tell you what I think. End of video. 8 minutes.
And don't forget about the blue screwdriver.
Yeah, the blue screwdriver was king for a long time. Hey, Becky. Yeah, the blue screwdriver was it. It became a celebrity. The blue screwdriver started becoming a celebrity in vaping.
I noticed that DJ LSB didn't get hit with anything. He seems to be up.
Same format since day one. Yeah, same format. You know, he does it. He kept it. Well, his is a little bit more extreme. They're a little bit longer. If you notice, he doesn't try to keep in. There's that 8 to 10 minutes. Everybody knows that the best videos on YouTube, review wise, are between 8 and 10 minutes. They're never any longer. So if you have anything over 10 minutes, it better have some content that keeps them there. And I hate that name, DJLSB.
Yeah.
He keeps you in there with the different camera angles, the different looks, the builds, all that stuff. So I love his channel. It's one of the better. Him and Phil, to me, those are the guys. Those are the guys that have kept it. And Rip, too. Rip has kept it the same. Does he have some nonsense in his video? Yeah, but they're real short and sweet. You know, he'll throw in, it's like a truck full of dildos, but then just moves right on to the content. It's not, what is it called? What is that thing that, it's not a spew or... I forget what you call it. Where
spiel?
A spiel. There you go. Thank you, Tim. It's a spiel. It's not, it's not a 10-minute spiel.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's a charisma element to Rip that gets people into him. I think they like his quirkiness and his goofiness. It sort of comes natural to him.
Yeah.
You could say there's times when it looks like he's forcing it because it's a bit of an overreaction. Because I guarantee you, if he's chilling with his boys, he doesn't act like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but he does have a way with how he promotes something, and I think that attracts people, and they like that. I mean, Twisted was similar in a lot of ways. I mean, when he was first out there, he was the guy I watched all the time because he dropped shit all the time.
That was my game, my drinking game, Tim.
Oop, motherfucker. Oop, God. There were video rolls of him just dropping stuff, and then he would do the head-to-head battles. With the two, like the Pro Vari and the Kang. Two vape things enter one shell. And he was weird and he was funny, and I think that's what what drew us to him, but beyond all that kookiness and silliness was some valuable information and some educated presentation to draw you into something. So
I had the drinking game for him. Every time he dropped something, I drink. That's how I go to his videos. I grab my beer, dude. I sit there. Oh shit! Damn it! Drink. But yeah, even with him, even Bogan has kept the same format since day one. Bogan does the same layout. He goes through his thing, throws in his beer, throws in the vape, moves on with the product, end of video. No nonsense, no games, no bullshit. And I get it. You're right. I mean, everybody has a different way of keeping their attention going, and some people need, laughter and goofiness and all that other stuff. But to me, we're gonna always look at other reviewers. We're never. I don't know of anybody that just goes to one channel and says, "Okay, Joe Blow said it was amazing. Boom, end of story. I'm buying it." There's very seldom that's going to happen with any vape reviewer. Especially 5-6 years ago, where things weren't $40.
Yeah.
Where the RDA was anywhere from $60 to $85 to $100. You went to several sites. So look at this. Look at this. Say hello to Mr. Tom Harding.
What up, Tom? So I have a question back. Then, right? So I mean, none of us here are reviewers. None of us do that stuff.
I did a little bit, but it was
okay.
nuts.
So in a past life, right? But what's up, Rog? In that same breath, what does that mean to the greater gaggle of us, specifically the people that are watching the show right now, the people that tune in every week? The people that are watching the show with us right now are all people that have been vaping for years like we have. Yeah. They all have, everybody here has a similar level of expertise or experience in the vape world. If these vape reviewers disappear on YouTube, does that impact us, you personally? This is a personal question. Yeah. Do you feel like that's going to impact you and your ability to, or how you go about choosing something to buy? Are you going to then go to Tom's not Tom, I'm not picking on you, Tom. There's a legit website. You're going to go to Tom's Hardware and read up on a vape review on a device when it can only come in the form of pictures and text and no video.
Right.
Well, does it affect you?
I think for me, it comes down to brand loyalty. At this point, in our level of vaping, I think a majority of us, I'm going to assume you two as well. If there weren't videos there, you're going to stick with that one brand.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I like a lot of different brands.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah, but you have. Let me put it this way: if you see something come out from that specific brand,
Yeah.
you don't really need a review because you already know. Hey, I have had much success with everything they put out there. I have enjoyed it. It's been made well. I don't even need a review. I'm buying it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm at expert level that I could probably just
Expert. I have an expert button too. Damn
Well,
it.
I'm just saying I could I'm experienced enough that I agree with your statement that it's brand loyalty. I said, like every Wismec device I ever bought, I never had a problem with. Why would I hesitate ever buying another Wismec device?
Yeah.
I think if all I had to go on was peripheral information like a description on the website, a breakdown of what comes in the kit, the chip that's running on it, I think I probably would still be confident enough to go like, yeah, I'll go ahead and drop the money on it because I've just had really good experiences with that company, and I wouldn't question myself unless it just ended up being a dud and it was a horrible mod and be like, what the fuck happened to Wisdom?
How about you, Paul?
Well, there's a couple of reviewers that I've watched their channels simply because all they show is like pure vape porn. Todd's reviews, for instance, I'll watch that because it's the higher end and a lot of the MTL and not so much direct lung stuff. Now the RDAs and RDTAs are just about everywhere and every company's had a crack at them. That's not a problem for me. But if there are innovations in chip technology that I really want to know about, I'll go and search out that. If I hear something, I want to go and find, okay, what does this do that all the others don't do, and vice versa. As for liquid reviews, I won't even watch them anymore. Forget it.
Yeah.
No.
Who needs that?
Yeah.
No.
Because everyone I ever bought based on a liquid review was garbage anyway.
Yeah.
Every freaking one of them.
Yeah, and I think too a lot has changed in the last 7 years. I think that a majority. I'm not going to say all of us, but I think a majority of us that make a mistake on a $35 RDA aren't going to be as pissed off, let's say, as you were if you bought something 7 years ago and that RDA was, $105 and you found out the insulator didn't work and you found out that the screw stripped. Then then the shit hit the fucking fan. But I think today with, I don't know, what would you say? 80% of the RDAs out there are right in that $30 to $50 range. Pretty much, probably less really than 50, but right in there, right?
Yeah.
30 to 50. So the likelihood of you being bent or even that pissed off that you would have been 7 years ago. And then the fact that it's much easier to return something now vape related than it was 7 years ago, because a lot of times that shit was made in somebody's fucking shop and they didn't have extra parts. They didn't look. You remember that, Paul? I need an insulator for my Stellar. We're working on that. Give us a couple weeks, But yeah, I think that has made a little bit of a difference too. I mean, as far as the price structure of most of the stuff that we're buying today, I mean, who's out there that's the $100 range right now?
Not much. I mean, there's a few. I mean,
Few.
I saw a review the other day about a boxer mod that's 3D printed or something like that.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch mod is $300. Just a mod. It's $300. I'm like, okay, look, if I had money to burn and I just had to have it, then I could maybe justify it. But, I mean, I think the majority of us live in some sort of vape budget world, and we're like, I'll no more than 100. No more than 100 a mod.
Yeah.
Just a mod.
Yeah. Yeah, even that's come. I mean, there's very few, and most of the mods that are in that over 100. I mean, it's Lost Vape is one of them. The one Tim just mentioned is one of them. Is what do you call it? Still really a player anymore? Since Pioneer is with them, they're all together now.
Who Yeehee and
He
Yeehee
and yeah, what was that?
Well-
The one that had the leather one that I got it over here somewhere.
leather one.
The leather one.
It had leather around the handle. Everybody was buying like crazy.
Oh,
What am I doing? You
one
can't see
that
it.
the one that Lost Vape originally did.
No, it was the one that looked like this here.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
SX.
Yeah, the
SX
SX Mini. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. There's not. I don't think. I'm trying to think. Does Smock
All right,
have
Phil.
Smock does not
Good
have
night,
$100. Smock doesn't have. They may. I mean, if you buy it, if you're going to buy it at a local vape shop, yeah, you are paying $100 for it. But I don't think Smock has $100 mod. I don't think Wismec has $100 mod. I don't think. Dot
Wismec, no,
Dot
Wismec
does.
did. No,
Yeah.
Wismec did.
Yeah.
They had
XX,
the DNA back then.
Yeah. The,
The DNA 200.
any DNA, you're gonna. I mean, flat out, we all know the chip's $100. So
Yeah.
your majority of the price of that mod is coming from the price of that DNA chip or module, right? Modular.
The mod itself. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, you
yeah.
know, anytime you're getting into the DNA area, or you're going to walk into the Yeehee chipsets, you're going to be spending some coin on those. But those, if you really break them down, are not what most people would call a high-end device. I mean,
Right.
They're just a more expensive device. But then there's high end.
There's high end.
Then there's high end. That's a whole other ball of wax. And there are some companies out there that still cater to the high end market, and they're just not. They're not a framework that I can exist in, because I can't look at my bank account and go, man, I really got to have that $350 mod.
Yeah.
Just because it was made in Italy and it was machined by an elf in a tree, like who gives a
Name
gives a-
Luigi. Name Luigi.
yeah, whatever? Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Mini Luigi.
Mini Luigi
Mini
sitting on a
Luigi.
tree, elf.
Yeah. No, I just I mean, I think you're right. I think there's the vast majority of vape products that most of us would buy into are probably sub 100.
Yeah.
For a kit, and that's for a kit.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, that's right, Tim. It's usually with a sub tank.
Yeah. So I think for me, the only difference is that I'll be willing to spend that kind of money to get something like that. Well, right, Asmodus. So Tom brought up a good point. Asmodus,
Which are gone anyway. They're gone.
are they? Are they completely gone? No, they're not. They came back.
Did they make a comeback? I haven't
No,
noticed.
they liquidated for a while, and then they bounced back, and they're back up to their standard price points. But my point is that I just shy away now from anything that looks like it's that I know is gonna require me to replace throwaway type coils, sub tanks, pod systems, AIOs. Things, if I can't have a Boro set for it and make my own coil, throw my own friggin' addy in there of some kind, I don't want it, because just from the purchasing restrictions and the ability to get stuff conveniently, it's hard to get coils now.
Yeah.
It's hard to get coils, and I just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, and I think too, this community, this industry, I think it's never ending. It keeps evolving, is what I've noticed in the last 11 years. Something that was expensive, somebody will figure out how to make it affordable, and I think it all started with Tony B. Tony B started that little trend with squonks. He was the guy that said, "Hey, people want a squonk. I'm going to make something." Was it great? It was okay. The first one had some issues with the button and a couple other things, but he introduced a whole new introduced a whole new customer to a device that I can't afford a Frankenstein, whatever the fucking thing was. I can't afford a 3D printed mod coming out of Canada or where were they coming from? They were coming from Ireland. They were coming from England. Was big. Mods, your squonkers coming out of England were you You had to go to a site. You had to register. You had to pay $5 to get into the poll. You had to hope your name got picked. You had to go through this whole process to pay someone for something that you wanted. It was insane. But we're gonna. You go ahead, Paul.
It was Tony B, and then it was Signature Tips when they started working with Dovpo, and they started doing their collaborations, and that's when Squonking took the next level because they were using proper billet aluminium devices. They were creating that, and then they had variations of it, like the topside Squonker, which was a huge bottle on the back edge of it. But it was different. Yeah. But I like watching collaborations now between high-end models out of Europe, and then we'll take Aspire, for instance, doing their collaborations with Sunbox. That was one. And they did the side-by-side. They did it in metal, and then they did it in acrylics. They then did like the GT Typhoon, which took an Aspire coil.
Yeah.
Those collaborations I like to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still around. He's not very active, and it's just a bunch of different types of videos. It's fucking drawing.
Oh, I'm on his channel right now, and 14 hours ago, he reviewed the GK2 from Caliburn.
Yeah.
Right before that, he did some disposables. Before that, he did the Geek Vape Winax, or whatever. And then before that, he was doing something about moon rocks. So.
Moon rocks.
Yeah, he moves around. He moves around.
Delta 8 moon rocks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And you're right, Paul. Signature was a player in that, but it's even before them. To be honest, it's Geek Vape and fucking Hell Vape that said, "Hey, we can make this cheaper. We can make a decent." I mean, you got to go back to the Dead Rabbit. The Dead Rabbit changed everything. It changed everything from people saving their money, and saying, "I want that $110 RDA," from going, "Holy shit, this works pretty good. It's how much? $28. All right, I can buy 6 of them, get 6 different colors." I think Geek Vape and Hell Vape changed that whole RDA thing, because if you notice, right after that, the big boys even kind of said, "Hey, we can't hit that $100 range. We better keep things right at about 65 to say." There was a couple floating around there at 85, but usually those were RTAs. It was usually an RTA that got you. Now you were paying $100, which made sense. I mean, there's more parts to the RDA.
Well, the other company that you have to bring into that was Watofo, because they were bringing
there
out,
you go. I couldn't remember the name.
They were bringing out RDAs that were absolutely killer for the money. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And then you had the little company out of absolutely nowhere, Irma, with the very first offering that they put on the table being the Wasp Nano, and that was the game changer for cheap single coil RDAs that worked straight out of the box. 100%.
Yeah, they were around.
Yeah, they were around way longer.
Yeah, Steve Crane wasn't cheap, but though.
No, they weren't, but they. I mean, you had the V1, the V2, you had the glass, the V2 glass aromomizer.
Were
you
they
had
Canadian
all
or
brands.
Europe? Was that Canadian or Europe? Steam Crave in the beginning, I can't remember.
I don't know about originally. They were Asia. They went to Asia later.
Yeah. Well, they all made the transition to Asia. Manufacturing just drew everybody. It's just so cheap to. All right, hey, before we get any further down this road, let's before the news here, we got about 15 minutes to talk about this. But we're going to talk about Hong Kong. Let me make sure I got that. I was trying to make it funny, but big trouble in Hong Kong. As of April 30th in Hong Kong, it will be illegal to sell, manufacture, import, or promote vaping and heated tobacco products. The Customs Department issued. This was the day one. This shocked me. You guys ready for this? Day one after the law passed, right? Yep. You see this, Paul? Fucking day one. Do you want to talk about being on the ball? about 2.6 million suspected heated tobacco products, about 190,000 suspected nicotine-containing electronic cigarettes, and about 5,000 milliliters of nicotine-containing electric. I don't know. That's how they wrote it. They wrote oils. Electronic cigarette oils was seized. An estimated $15 million on the street on day one, dude. Who the fuck? You at least wait a couple days, right? You don't go right at it on day one. April 30th here. The next day, I think we should just try to sneak some shit over the border into Hong Kong, and hopefully we don't get caught. I mean, 15 million is probably nothing to whoever this was. And how close? I didn't look, but I know one of you guys know. Xinjiang, China shares a border with Hong Kong, right? I mean, it's like one town over, right? Or it's not like 3 towns over.
No, across the bay.
It's across the bay.
Kong, yeah, well, Hong Kong is Hong Kong Chinese, or
right,
the majority of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
When you're in China and Shenzhen and places like that where the manufacturers are.
Right.
But here's the other problem. A lot of the manufacturers also have distribution hubs out of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
That's a big key for the international because of the ports and also because of shipping.
Yeah.
But what they did in such a short period of time, I just went, hang on, how the hell did that
one day?
Yeah, I know.
Do you think this was? They knew this was coming. They needed something to look like they were badass. And what was that? Oh, that was my phone. Sorry, that is an update from my fantasy sports.
ESPN just jumped in on the chat.
Sponsored by? No, don't say it. Do you think they used that? They knew this was coming. They knew it seems like somebody knew something and said, "Okay, we got to look like we're really going after this, and let's just jump on this 15 million. No big deal. It looks big in the paper for us. It makes it look like, hey, we're doing something here." What do you think, Paul? It's just a lot.
Well, okay. You have to look at China as a whole because their whole tobacco industry is government run.
Yeah.
That's for a start. They've got the enforcement power to just crush people like at the click of a finger, and it's bang. We'll cut you off. We can shut down your shipping. We can shut down manufacturing. I do agree with some of what they're doing over there, that some of these smaller companies will get swallowed up by the bigger ones. That will then mean the quality of devices will go up again. And if they all have to be registered as a manufacturer of said products, it could be a little bit different. But what they did in such a short period of time, they were ramping up in the background way before. There was chatter like in back panels of what they were going to be doing.
Yeah.
But no one knew how swift it was going to be.
Hey, that's fine.
I understand, but
that's right.
It was just bang, and it happened. Sure, it was an attention-grabbing headline.
Yeah,
but where is it? But where is it going to go from here?
Right.
That's the key.
Yeah, it says violators can earn a hefty fine of up to 6 months in prison, although personal use and possession is not against the law. I love that one.
It's like,
yeah, you can have it. You can have it in your possession. You can be using it. We can't arrest you for that. Cigarettes, of course, will remain perfectly legal, and many vapors and HTP users will return to smoking, it says. And if anybody didn't know, this is something China has been trying to push since 2018. This is not, hey, they woke up one morning and they just said, hey, we're going to ban vaping. This is something that the COSH has been trying to do since 2018. So this is kind of a wake-up call. I hope it is a wake-up call for other vapors here in the United States to see how easy this could happen there. It could happen here as well. And it might not to this extreme, but what is the one thing that the government's been trying to do since day one? Sure, they want to ban flavors, they want to ban it, but the goal for the goal that our government is trying to get to is the supply of nicotine, and that is controlling the supply of nicotine. and who gets it and how much they get.
I've been saying that since day one.
Yeah,
And
thank
I
you.
said,
Yeah, we share the same brain, Paul.
whoever controls, and that's all they want to do, because the medical industry now knows, and they've known for a long time, the benefits of nicotine. Okay, they're wanting to medicalize it more than anything else. If they go down that pathway, which that's why I personally think, no one else's opinion, but that's why I think that the FDA, sure, the flavors, they want to go after that, but next they went bang straight away, way quicker with synthetic nicotine products than the rest of the vaping industry.
Yep. Well,
They went after one thing. They want to control the nicotine.
I mean, it's only obvious just by looking at that first siege. I mean, how much is 5,000 milliliters of nicotine?
5 liters. It's a gallon. Like 4 liters is 1 gallon and a liter. That's all it is. 5,000 mils. That's nothing.
Yeah, that's nothing. I mean, you would think there would be a lot more than that in there, and that's probably the key component. To be honest with you, yeah, the mod's important, the cartridges are important, but those things don't work unless you have, the liquid. So it's funny to me when I start thinking like you're saying, it's the nicotine, it's what the government wants to control, and you see this big siege, but then you see this small amount of nicotine that's being seized, and for obvious reasons, there's a lot more than 5,000 milliliters of nicotine coming across the border into China.
Yeah, but it also depends on the grade of the nicotine, whether it was 100 milligram or pure.
Yeah.
If it's 5 liters of 1,000 milligram, you're talking, once that's busted down into 100 meg, you're talking a lot of nicotine. But in manufacturing terms, 5 liters of pure nicotine can turn out a shitload of liquid.
Yeah, especially
at 3 milligram. That's what they're looking at. But they're trying to control it because the state-run tobacco over there has no real share in liquid nicotine.
Yeah, they're not just going after menthol.
India. No,
they don't give a shit about menthol in Hong Kong.
No. Well, it's the same as India. A lot of the freebase nicotine, or the base product that we use for manufacturing the freebase, comes out of India, and the state-run growers over there sell the nicotine leaf for extraction. So that's another key component that you've got to look at, and you've got to watch for that.
Yeah.
If the governments around the world want to control the manufacturing and the extraction of nicotine, that could be another avenue that they could go down.
All right. I'm going to throw a question to Tim real quick, because did I just lose my train of thought? I think I just did lose my train of thought. I had a great question for you, Timmy. Let me think about it. It'll come to me.
Well, on the Hong Kong thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, sure, you can say that it was intended to be sort of some sensationalistic headline, that we've confiscated all this stuff, that we've enacted this ban, and that in its own right, kind of sends some sort of a veiled message. But I think what it also does too is that it sends a very poor message, that the reason that they did this, and even though most people probably, the average human being is not going to even understand the volume of nicotine that was confiscated or detained in that particular raid, but they're sending a message that, oh snap, people are seeing that on the news, if they've seen it at all. And they're like, see, I told you it was dangerous. If China needed to stop the manufacturing and seize all this stuff, it's got to be bad. It's got to be really, really, really bad, because they're going to equate it very quickly to, say, a fentanyl bust or a heroin bust or a cocaine bust or something like that. If you've got government-run police entities going in and seizing products and taking it, in the public's eyes, somebody got paid somewhere to do that shit, and say, we want you to make this look like it was you just stopped the most evil transgression of chemicals and products on the planet. today, and that allows people to substantiate that argument, because the impressionable human being is going to be like, man, that must be bad if they're
Right.
going in and taking that much stuff. I mean, imagine if that hit the streets.
Yeah.
Imagine the number of people it would kill or addict if that stuff was able to be on the streets. We'd have more homeless camps,
Yeah.
on the streets because of vaping. It's like it sends a message that what they got was really bad stuff, and it wasn't. It was just stopping stuff that was based on a law they decided to pass.
Yeah. That was my question. I was going to ask you what you thought that this message sends, and I was going to go the whole world. Does this send a positive or negative impacts to vaping? Because I was just wondering, do you feel that people see that one way? They see it as they just stopped heroin, like you said, and some sort of drug, and not, okay, this has gone too far. You think there are people that are out there that are going, why are they paying so much attention to this? Do you think there are some of those people out there?
I think there's plenty of those people that go, don't we have bigger problems in this world right now than some people vaping some blueberry donut e-liquid? Because I think that there's also enough people that are sitting around looking at this from a couple different angles outside of that, and one of those is that it's the libertarian mindset that's like, why are they taking something away from someone that they've done nothing to hurt anybody else? First of all, I don't see vape junkies hanging out on the street with jewels hanging out of their mouth, fiending, looking like crack addicts. I mean, these are people that I've got vapors in my family, and I hang out with them at cookouts every weekend, and they come over to my house and we shoot the shit and watch the hockey game. And there's nothing wrong with these people. They're not like tripping balls in my living room on the carpet on their hands and knees, friggin' geeking for a friggin' drop of e-liquid they hit the floor.
Yep.
I mean, if we're gonna equate it to being something bad, and you even want to go so far as to say that someone's gullible enough to think that vaping is as bad or worse than smoking, well, then why aren't you bitching about cigarettes still being on the shelf? They're not seizing. Sure, they might seize some illegal cigarette sales because they're not going through the proper channels. But you can walk into any convenience store, pretty much anywhere, and buy whatever you want, and those things kill people. Yeah. And nobody seems to give a rat's ass about that. No one. But sure, seize 5,000 milliliters of nicotine, and you just save the world, because that's your fentanyl shipment that's coming over the wall. Yep. It's shocking to me that people will fall for the most insignificant thing as being the biggest threat to society.
Yeah. Yep. All right, guys, it is that time. You know what time it is, Paul? Do you know what time it is, Paul?
Tap.
There was your hint. There was your hint.
No, I knew.
All right.
I had to get a drink.
All right, here we go.
I got caught with a soda in my hand. It's tappity time. I got some papers in my hand. Let me see your papers. We have ways of making you talk.
I thought you were going to throw in the Star Wars logo, being that it is 5/4 today. I thought you were going to say, these are not the droids you're looking for.
May the 4th be I just have a lisp. May the 4th be with you. Yeah. No, I wasn't going to do a Star Wars thing. I don't know, like every time I turn around, there's some relationship to Star Wars to something. Everywhere you go in the world, it's like it's that popular. But yeah, no, we're tapping papers today. I had to do a little digging. I was trying to find some positive, news and information. A lot of negativity that goes on in this world. There is one negative that I had to go with, and we'll get to that at the end. I think the negative is really more for awareness and just so people understand the magnitude of exactly what we deal with. And I wanted to point out some. This is not news related, but I just thought it was kind of funny. And I won't mention names because I don't want to rag on anybody. But it kind of, to me, was sort of a signifier of where we're at, right? There's the people like us who are like, holy crap, we're losing everything. We got to fight, 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 fight. Yeah, here it is, the Revenge of the Fifth. We got to fight, 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 fight for our right, and and we got all this stuff going on, and we can't sleep, we can't get lazy, we can't punt. And I was watching a vape review video. Oddly enough, it was in a vape review video of a product that just dropped. It was a pod type system. I don't care about that so much, but on the marketing materials that were part of the packaging, when the box was opened, I guess there was like a card or something that was overlaying the vape device, and the card or inside the flap said "Fight for your freedom." That's what was printed on the inside of the box. Fight for your freedom. And the two people that were doing the review of the device must have sat there on the video for like 5 minutes. I'll give them 5 minutes, and we're like, fight for your freedom. That seems a little odd. Why would they put that inside the box? And then the one person was like, are we fighting for anything? Can you think of anything that we're fighting for right now? Like what are we fighting for? For Ukraine, or for, and like calling out these social issues. And I'm thinking, you just opened a vape device. Okay, when's the last time you turned on the news about vaping and you understood for a hot second that we're on the precipice here in the United States to get ready to lose literally everything, specifically the thing that's in your fucking hand right now and the flavor in it that you're getting ready to vape, and you're questioning why someone would put on the box or on the flap, "Fight for your freedom," and literally ask yourself out loud to everybody watching the video, what are you fighting for? And so, okay, fine. Maybe they didn't get it, and maybe the sentiment was a little vague, that it didn't make sense at first. But it just blew my mind for a second, because I'm like, duh. What do you think they mean? You just put two and two together. All right, let's get to the news. I just had to point that out because I think it just sets the tone sometimes for where we are in this industry, that people are not oblivious, but becoming ignorant to the idea that we have something to fight for. Anyhow, but that said, let's talk about the VTA, right? The VTA does good things, don't you think so, folks? Yeah? No? Yeah? Some head nods? All right, pay attention, John. This is the news. This is important shit. All right,
looking at quotes.
Okay,
comments.
good for you. So the VTA met with the FDA here again for the second time, all right? Because we all know that the FDA has now been able to take over regulation of synthetic nicotine, and so that's a big thing, right? Do they even know what they're regulating? Do they even know what they're shutting down? Because I think that's another taboo thing, right? Yep. Everybody thinks that if it has synthetic attached to the name, that it must be probably worse than the actual thing, right? Because we heard about synthetic weed and all this other stuff. So the VTA met again with the U.S. FDA Center for Tobacco Products to help them clarify any questions the agency might have regarding synthetic nicotine. And this article was printed on May 4th, so that was today. So I don't know if that means they met with them today or in the last couple days. It doesn't specifically say when they met with them. But they did meet with them. I know that they had an initial meeting. I know that the VMA, Amanda Wheeler and her team, VMA, put out a letter sort of like explaining to them that they were willing to sit down with them and try to help them understand exactly what it was they were getting to regulate, where they were getting ready to regulate, and have a clearer definition on exactly what they were dealing with. VTA reps met with dozens of CTP regulators from 7 different offices. So CTP stands for Center for Tobacco Products, so in case anybody was unclear on exactly what that meant. They addressed concerns about the PMTA for synthetic products, which, by the way, folks, the PMTA submissions for all synthetic nicotine products have to be in 10 days.
10 days.
In 10 days. So that's the cutoff for those PMTAs to be submitted. Now, Amanda Wheeler did chime in that she felt as though this timeline, aggressive timeline, would be met with some legal challenges. I don't know where we stand on that. I don't know if anybody's even brought a case to a judge to try to get a stay on some of the timelines, right? Because as of May 14, the PMTAs have to be in, and I believe that it's by July. Is it July? July 14th or June? Is it June? It's June 14th. All those products then have to be completely off the shelves, right? So if anybody is buying anything right now that uses synthetic nicotine, there's a lot of companies that were skirting the PMTA process or abandoned their PMTAs, released products that had synthetic nicotine in them. You may not see an extension of that deadline. So by June 14th, you're not going to be able to buy those products on shelves. So if you're into disposables or into certain manufacturers, Humble has switched to synthetic nicotine. Quite a few companies have switched over. Those will be gone with regulation. During the meeting, several speakers joined the VTA in shedding light on how synthetic nicotine is manufactured, its purity, and its similarities and differences to tobacco-derived nicotine. So I wanted to go ahead and read. I didn't want to type all these out because it's a lot to type a bunch of these names. But here's some of the names of the people that were part of the VTA conference, people that showed up in support of the VTA. That was Dr. Bill Jackson, PhD of Organic Chemistry, Dr. David Johnson, PhD, Physical Analytical Chemistry, Dr. Ray McCaig, PhD, Organic Chemistry, and Dr. Willie McKinney, PhD of Inhalation Toxicology. And all have experience in synthetic products and shared that expertise with the regulatory agency. So I think that this is a fantastic movement by the VTA people who are trying to at least enlighten the FDA as to exactly what they're dealing with, and that probably the FDA is just believing that synthetic nicotine is this big bad monster that somehow is worse than free-based nicotine or salt nic or anything like that. And again, I just don't think that these regulatory agencies really have any inclination as to what they're dealing with. So I don't know that this makes any bit of difference. They pointed out here that Johnson and McKinney also have extensive experience with the FDA, having previously served on FDA's Tobacco Products Scientific Advisory Council. So people that were once part of the FDA were actually fighting in the corner of the VTA to bring information to the impressionable eyes of the people in the Center for Tobacco Products. So the comment here was, as with our first meeting, we are encouraged by the level of engagement by the CTP's Office of Science on this issue. The VTA stated in a release, and we greatly appreciate the participation of numerous FDA scientists from the various responsible divisions within the office with whom we were able to share our scientific knowledge and advanced thinking on the key issues. So again, no release as to exactly what information was given. Yeah. I'm sure probably most of us wouldn't understand it anyway. Paul probably down there would understand it. But with that said, I do think that it's a positive shift. At least they're listening. I don't know if it's going to change anything, but the VTA is hoping. That's not even a word. I'm hoping my beer. Yeah. That's when the beer is not in front of you; it's on the other side of the room. And hey, I'm hoping my beer. All right, the VTA is hoping to continue to engage the FDA to help the agency better understand the nature of synthetic nicotine. Tony Abood was part of this. He jumped in with his commentary that said, our work is not done. These meetings and the additional meetings that we are working on as part of the VTA's multi-pronged strategy to ensure the proper and full assessment of synthetic nicotine PMTAs, said Abood. If your company is manufacturing products containing synthetic nicotine and is serious about regulatory compliance, or if your retail operation wants the ability to continue to diversify its retail offerings with synthetic nicotine products, or if you want to have continued access to innovative products containing synthetic nicotine, you should strongly consider being engaged in our strategic efforts. So I think it takes a village, right?
Yep.
So why not stand with the VTA and bring your expertise to the table and maybe enlighten some of these people as they go through the PMTA process? I'm pretty sure it would be appreciated. So my takeaway on this article, I said, do you think that these meetings will help to open the FDA's eyes? Question mark. And do you remain hopeful that they are at least willing to listen to the industry? This is my first experience with understanding that a vape industry influence was working with a federal agency to inform and educate. Obviously, we don't get those seats at the table very often. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, I put the link. I hope I think that's where you got it, because I'm reading the same article you're reading. So hopefully it came from Vapor Voice. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. I put the link in there, guys. So if you want to go read that article, it's there.
Right. So
I read your mind. I read your mind, Tim.
There you go, buddy. I mean, this is the first time I've experienced the industry being involved. So I think that the industry should have been there all along anyway. Yeah. I think, I don't know if it really would have made a big difference, but I do think that we deserve a seat at the table to at least inform people of information and science that we have. All right, so let's move to this one. This is a UK study that came out. Excuse me for that one. So this article is just basically states that switching to vaping restores lung defense against infection. So this is a study that was conducted by the University of Catania, which they found that switching to vaping can restore the lungs defense against harmful substances that cause infection and inflammation. So it's a really interesting short article. There's not a whole, just sort of like basically bullet point, but I thought that it was important to talk about because it's a viable study. People that don't understand biology or anatomy or anything like that, just so you know, our lungs contain tiny hair-like structures that use mucus to trap and evacuate harmful substances like viral and bacterial pathogens out of the body and to prevent infection and inflammation. So with that said, you have these little hairs that are inside your lungs, and they're called cilia. And the cilia actually move. They're kind of alive. And so the mucus is kind of like the fly trap. So the mucus gets on the cilia, but the mucus is not heavy enough, like in a healthy person. Let's just take a person that doesn't smoke.
Not us.
Yeah, not a person that doesn't smoke. They don't really do anything bad, all right? Those people have a healthy cilia system within their lungs, and the mucus lines the cilia and traps the pathogens and the infection and all that stuff. And then as the cilia move, it helps move it back up the lungs, and then you cough, right? And then you're able to eject the mucus or whatever. If you smoke, you quadruple the amount of mucus that develops within your lungs because your lungs are overreacting to the smoke that's gotten in there. So that mucus that develops from smoking, the cigarette smoke itself, it then gets onto the cilia, and then it weighs the cilia down. And then the cilia are less effective at removing the pathogens and the infection that's in your lungs. So it hangs around longer and therefore incubates longer, gets into your system a lot faster. Case in point, I think that smoking certainly had a lot to do with a lot of my bronchial colds that I would have. As a smoker, I would have a bronchial infection that would last 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then since I quit smoking and went to vaping, maybe 2 days. If I get sick at all. So that process with the cilia is known as MCC, or mucus. God, I got to say this.
You can do it, Tim. You can do it.
Drum roll, please. Mucociliary, folks. Use that one in Scrabble. Mucociliary clearance. That's what it's called. Mucociliary clearance, or MCC.
No.
For the remainder of this article, we're just going to call it MCC, folks. We're just going to stick with MCC.
I found it. Next time.
I'll
get you next time.
Thank you. The study looked at the impact of the switch to e-cigarettes and heat-not-burn devices. I know that there's some stank eye when it comes to HNBs, but they did look at both e-cigarettes and HNBs, or heat-not-burns, and its effect on the efficiency of that MCC process. So cigarette smoke contains several chemicals that are toxic to these cilia and increase the amount of mucus in the lungs. Is that your cilia, or are you just happy to see me? the, the increase in mucus makes it hard for the cilia to move. I mentioned this already, thus leaving more viral and bacterial pathogens to remain in the lungs a lot longer. E-cigarettes and heat-not-burns have been found to release up to 99% less cilia-toxic chemicals. This allows the cilia to repair and regain normal function. So the efficiency of MCC function, this is where the rubber meets the road, kids.
Yep.
Actually, it'll be the next sentence, but this is important too. The efficiency of MCC function is measured. This is how they do it. So I don't know if any of you guys would be uncomfortable with this, but what they do is measured by using what's called an STTT, a saccharin.
I ain't sticking that in me.
Nope. A saccharin test transit time. When's the next saccharin coming? I don't know. What's the saccharin
You got to build up
test
to it.
transit time? Which measures the amount of time it takes from a saccharin tablet, and they stick it in your nose, and then when the person can actually start to taste the sweetness from the saccharin tablet. So basically, it's that amount of time. They stick it in your nose. It's absorbed into the system, and then once you can start to taste the saccharin sweetness, that's your MCC function time. Okay, yeah. Everyone got that. So, look, we're not doctors. I'm not recommending you go put saccharin tablets up your nose, but apparently it's safe. I'm just saying.
The FDA said so.
Exactly. So well, I don't know. This wasn't the FDA.
Oh well, yeah,
this wasn't the FDA. This was the research team at the University of Catania. So, hey, look, if you go there and someone wants you to sit down and they want to shove something up your nose, it's probably a saccharin tablet.
It's okay.
So, at any rate, when comparing the STTT of former smokers, e-cigarette users, and HNB users, the study found that no significant differences were observed. Yep. So that means that they didn't notice any increase or decrease. The average time for these groups was 7 to 8 minutes. In current smokers, the average time went up. So for smokers, the average time went up to 13 minutes if you were a smoker, and they stuck that in your nose. They went from 8 minutes to 13 minutes. So a 5-minute difference at the top end of that, which is a substantial decrease in the MCC efficiency. So after making the switch, the cilia will start to work more efficiently, and the person may develop the functional, purposeful cough that can last 2 weeks. And what is that cough, everyone? Everyone knows what that particular cough is. That's the... Well, that's a good representation, John.
Thank you.
That cough is what people talk about when they're like, hey, I just quit smoking, and I felt like I was hacking up a lung for the last couple weeks. That is that cough. But it becomes rather than it just being a cough to get rid of the additional extra mucus that's in your lungs at that time, this is your lungs finally getting rid of that mucus for the last time. And then you should be able to fall back into a place after that 2 to 3 week period to when you're vaping. Your cilia should be operating maybe not at an optimal level, but at a normal level that you're not going to have an overabundance of mucus in your lungs. The study concluded that those whom have switched to vaping or HNBs have regained their primary protection against lung infections and inflammation, and this could also help protect against lung diseases and slow the progression of existing lung diseases. So this poses a question. Everybody says after they started vaping that they feel a lot better and that their lungs are a lot clearer, they can breathe a lot easier. And what else do people state now that they've started vaping? It's common. Maybe not in everybody. Our biology is different across the spectrum. But what do most people report when they start vaping?
They can breathe better.
Okay.
For me.
So that's noted. That's noted.
No, your taste buds actually get reset.
Okay, that's another one. That's relative.
Yeah, but there's a major reason. The PG in liquids actually helps reset, and that's where the cough comes from. a lot of the people, when they first start out, they're vaping 50/50 liquids or MTL now in pod devices. The real benchmark is 18 to 21 days. 14 days is the cycle, but 18 to 21. After 21 days, your sense of taste comes back completely.
Yeah.
If you
Okay,
don't go back to smoking.
right. I'll agree with you 1,000,000 gajillion bajillion % on that one, Paul. But what I was trying to drag out of people is the fact that you don't fall as sick as often. Where you used to get sick frequently and have elongated colds or periods of sickness. The majority of people that I've talked to, or at least talk about that difference in their life, is that they just don't get sick as often anymore. And so that's indicative of exactly the MCC process and the cilia returning to a more healthy position. Basically it's working like it should.
Correct. And the second part to that is your skin returns from looking like oily,
yellow, and
garbage.
aging and all that other stuff. Yeah, Mowgli said, I used to get chronic bronchitis every winter from Thanksgiving to Easter every year. No more crackling since the first week, and no chest colds for 9 years. And that's exactly what I've been saying too, is like I noticed a massive difference. I mean, for me it's 10 years now, right? And I was not one to ever get the flu. But when it came to colds, if I felt one come on and I had that twinge in my throat, I knew I was locked in for a good 2 to 3 weeks. Because I knew I was going to be sandpaper coughing, like that lung ripping cough that you had, where it was just like, ugh, it hurt and you couldn't do anything. And now that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen at all. I might get a mild cough, but nothing like that ever has happened again in those years. So this is just another great study. This is one that you can throw out to people, right? This is a viable study. Did they actually post a link to the actual study in here? It would be nice. It would be nice if they did that. There it is, University of Catania study.
Share it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just put it in the chat.
Okay.
I'll just post it. It'll be from the ZampleBox people there. All right, it's coming. But that said, but this is one you can show people, and you have reference material. It goes right to the university study, so it's not like somebody just typed some op-ed and said this shit, right? All right, so let's move on to our advocacy article. This one's not such great news. This one's actually kind of sad, and it's very disappointing, but we've talked about this in the last couple weeks. I think 3 weeks. I kept bringing this one up, is that Hawaii was actually getting ready to try to pass a bill that would enact a flavor ban in Hawaii for all tobacco products. I mean, literally every tobacco product that you can possibly think of that's on the market. So they have now passed it in the House. This has been being pushed for years, but they finally succeeded in passing a ban of flavored vaping and tobacco products after several years of trying. The bill itself is HB 1570, and it was passed in the House by a vote of 36 to 15. The bill will now go to the governor's desk, and he can sign it into law or he can veto it. Probably would not shock most of you to know that he's expected to sign it. If he does sign it, which it looks like he will, the ban would go into effect as of July 1 this year. This will make Hawaii the 5th state to now prohibit flavored vapes. Now, what's even more disappointing about Hawaii doing this is not just overall that they've banned flavored vapes, but it's the fact that people in Hawaii can't just jet over to the next city or the next state. These people are on islands, folks. They're chilling out in the middle of the water, south of California. So, that said, this is really unfortunate. There's some really good companies in Hawaii, like e-ciggity. I used to order from them all the time. Great prices, great shipping. really solid, reliable company, and that these people will be out of jobs now. So this bill prohibits the sale of all tobacco and nicotine-containing products and flavors other than tobacco. It includes the lot, right? So this is vaping products, cigarettes, cigars, smokeless tobacco, nic pouches, and lozenges. Nothing flavored. Nothing flavored. It's all going to what the traditional tobacco flavor. Now, want to bet NRTs can stay on the shelf?
I'm
And
sure.
they're orange and lime and lemon and cherry and all that other stuff. But they'll be able to stay on the shelves. The law would impose. Now, here's the penalties, right? So since it'll be illegal to sell any of that stuff, it doesn't say that you can't. It's illegal to possess.
Right.
Just can't sell. So if you can ship to Hawaii, you can get it.
Yeah.
You know. But that said, if the law would impose a $500 fine for a first-time violator and $500 to $2,000 fines for additional offenses. Here's another thing that would also penalize retailers on is if they mislabel nicotine-containing products as nicotine-free.
Yep.
So, don't take that 6 milligram bottle and say it's nic-free. You could get in trouble. But along with Hawaii now, they're the fifth state once this is signed. Massachusetts is also flavor banned. New Jersey is flavor banned. Rhode Island is flavor banned, and so is New York.
Yeah.
So there's nothing we can do now, right? I mean, we can't help Hawaii too much. This is going to be, an uphill battle. I don't know what these people are going to do. I'm sure we'll be hearing from them. They got till July 1st to stock up. But that said, this is why we advocate, folks. This is why calls to action matter. I don't know what one thing helps with that situation, but I think showing up in number does make a difference. And I think some people have just thrown in the towel and they're like, oh, well, what am I going to do? And then now here's this. So now the poor people in Hawaii can't save their own lives. But they can go buy a cigarette.
Yep. They can keep buying them smokes.
Yeah. So.
And the weed.
And the weed. Well, whatever. Who cares about that? That's irrelevant. Weed's not deadly. So.
No, it's not. It's not deadly.
But that said, that is your tappity tap news. Don't lose the top from the soda. Back to you, John, in the studio.
Yes, back to me. I was just kind of, we're seeing one after the other, each state going through this process. Let's go down the road here. Let's say a year from now, the feds say, okay, this is what's going to be available. Everything is go. You can have your flavors. There's going to be these limitations. I'm wondering if these states are going to abide, or are they going to fight it? That's what I'm concerned about now, because as more and more states and cities start implementing flavor bans and disposables and all this other nonsense, are they going to comply when the feds finally say, okay, we're going to let you have your flavors. You can only have this amount of milligrams. You can only have this and that. I'm just wondering if they're going to comply. Or is the city of San Francisco going to say, well, the feds said it's okay, we're going to bring flavors back into the city? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's there's some irony there, and that is there are some studies that have been put out since some of this stuff has happened to show that cigarette rates have gone up in youth and other groups because of the flavor bans themselves. Yeah. So I'm hoping that maybe somewhere down the line, if this fight really is about the health of people and kids getting their hands on things that they technically shouldn't, you would hope that they would start looking at those statistical figures and go, you know what, maybe this flavor ban, wasn't such a great thing. Now the kids are smoking more, and that's what's going to kill them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. I want to see. I'm hoping that that opportunity does happen someday down the road. And I'm just wondering how these other cities are going to comply, or even if they do comply. I mean, the only way they can go about with their business, they can do whatever they want. They don't have to follow federal laws and regulations. So, and I don't see the feds pushing the issue, saying with most issues, well, if you don't do this, we're going to take this funding away from you. I don't see the feds doing that with vaping, saying the city of San Francisco, if you don't accept this new regulations and bylaws for vaping, we're going to pull your homeless money away. That's not going to happen. I don't see that. So it's going to be whether or not the city of San Francisco, the city of whatever, I don't know what other, all these Hawaii and all these other places decide to do, whether or not they jump on board and say, okay, vaping's cool. You can start buying. You can open up your vape shops and start buying your flavors if they comply. I'm curious. I wonder.
Yep. Nah.
No, Bill, but they just approve logic. So there you go.
Yeah.
There's their logic.
Exactly. They don't use it. They don't use it.
It's
well,
logical.
they don't. Yeah, they don't use it, and they approve something that none of us will ever use.
Yeah.
How about that?
Well, boys, we're at that time of the show. Paul, do you have anything you want to throw out there? Did you? Anything else? Tim, you? Paul?
I think I covered it in the news segment.
Good man. Paul, you have anything for me?
Bits and pieces, but
Go ahead, Paul.
hello, Dave here. Yeah,
What is
no.
Jeopardy?
no, we won't go down that pathway. No, Hawaii, that completely sucks. I'm sorry.
That's bad.
And you know, that's an island state, and that's what they're trying to do to us here in Australia.
You guys are in the same situation. You're an island too. You're in the same boat, baby.
Yeah, I know. And I've got a lot of very good friends in Hawaii. Man.
But you can bring it there. When you visit, you can bring it. You can bring it.
Hawaiian, I don't care, but the Hawaiian governor or whoever signed off on this, he's an asshat. Sorry. That's all he gets from me. That's bullshit.
Yeah. All right, boys and girls. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Thank you, Tim and Paul. And we will see everybody next Wednesday. I think Tony Abu will be joining us next Wednesday, or Matt may be joining us. I'll let you guys know next week which one of those two, and it may be somebody else, but it's a surprise. I can't let you know who that is yet. What are you doing? Are you mining?
I'm voguing.
Okay,
sorry.
you're voguing. You're not mining because you know what'll happen if you go down that road. So we'll see. Oh God, All right, we'll see everybody next week. Again, thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll see everybody next Wednesday.